This lesson is on multiplication properties. The first thing I need you to do is open your math notebook to the very first page, and you're going to label at the top multiplication properties. Remember, you can always push pause on the computer or on your iPad if I'm moving too fast to catch up. So multiplication properties. The first thing that I want you to do right now underneath multiplication properties is I want you to draw 10 squares in equal rows. I need you to draw a total of 10 squares. You need to have them in equal rows. Push pause and draw them. When you're done, you may have a picture that looks like this, or you may have a picture that looks like this. Either way, I have a total of 10 squares. There's 5 in this row and 5 in this row. 2 rows of 10. Or I could do it this way and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 rows with 2 in each row. Either way, I have 5 and 5 in 2 rows, which equals 10. I could also write this as 2 times 5 equals 10. Over here, I could write, there's 2 in each row, and I have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows. So I have 5 rows with 2 in each row for a total of 10. This is the first multiplication property that we are going to talk about today, which is called the commutative property. Basically what that says is that 2 times 5 is the same thing as 5 times 2. We end up with the same product. My pictures may look different, but I still have 10 squares either way. That is the commutative property. I want you right now to write down commutative, and we're going to write the definition. Here is the definition of commutative property. I want you to write this definition in your notebook. You can push pause to write that down. The commutative property says that 2 numbers can be multiplied in any order, and the product will still be the same. For the example that we just wrote down, we had 2 times 5 was the same as 5 times 2. I want you to pause the video and come up with 2 more examples and write them in your notebook. You may also draw a picture if that would help you. In your notebook, I want you to write down these 3 number sentences and push pause to solve them. Write down all 3 of these on your same page that you've been writing notes on, and push pause. Go ahead and solve them, and then push play again. In all 3 of these number sentences, 5 times 0 is 0, 0 times 8 is 0, and 17 times 0 is 0. This is called the zero property. Go ahead and write this definition down. But the zero property states that any number multiplied by 0 will always equal 0. Any number multiplied by 0 will always equal 0. For example, if I have 2 groups of 0, it would look something like this. Here's one group, here's another group. There's nothing inside of either box, so 2 groups of 0 is 0. For our last multiplication property today, I want you to write these 3 number sentences down and push pause, solve them before you push play again. Write all 3 number sentences down, push pause and solve them. These 3 sentences are showing you the identity property. You're going to write this definition down in your notebook. The identity property states that the product, remember that product is the answer to a multiplication problem. Product is the answer to a multiplication problem. 7 is the product. 12 is the product here, and 52 is the product here. Identity property says that the product of any number and 1 will always equal that number. Any number multiplied by 1 will always equal 1. That is called the identity property. For example, you could draw a picture here, and I could say 1 group of 7. Here is 1 group, and there is 7. 1 group of 7 will always equal 7. Those are our multiplication properties today that we are going to go over. The commutative property says you can change the order of what you're multiplying, like 2 times 5 and 5 times 2. The answer is the same. That is the commutative property. The 0 property states that any number times 0 will always be 0. If I have 1,000,000 groups of 0, there's still 0 in that group. The identity property states that any number times 1 will always equal that number. 1,000,000 times 1 is 1. If you have any questions, you can rewind to rewatch any part of this video. Make sure that you had all of these notes written in your notebook.